What's up, everybody? How's it going? Hope you're ready for some more. Double recording day. Super proud of myself for getting this done. Been up all morning grinding, getting my things done. So got a little bit of time to do this, see where it goes. Probably be a little bit of a shorter episode, but that's all right. So anyways, let's get right into it. Grab my little reading on my phone, my notes. And it's a little bit of a short one. But today we're going to be talking about building resilience as soon as I can find the document. Building resilience. Here we go. Okay, so feel a little jammed up. Also, I've been having this false promise where, whoa, hope you guys didn't hear that door slam. I don't know what is going on out there today. Anyway, as I promised, going back right here with the first guest on the pod. So, let's get right into it. All right, building resilience. Resilience is defined as the ability to adapt and bounce back from stress, adversity, and trauma. It's not just about being tough or strong, but rather the ability to be flexible, resourceful, and able to cope with change. Resilience is not a fixed trait, but rather something that can be developed and strengthened over time. Ways we can begin to build resilience are developing a growth mindset, cultivating social support, practicing self-care, and learning the ability to have healthy coping skills. A growth mindset is the belief that our abilities and our intelligences can be developed through hard work, dedication, and perseverance. This mindset can help us see challenges as opportunities for growth and learning rather than as failures. Having a strong support network of friends, family, or any community can help us feel more connected and supported during times of stress. This support can help us process our difficult emotions and experiences and grow resilience by learning from them. Taking care of your physical body has a direct correlation to the health and well-being of your mind and soul. Your mental and emotional resilience will not be working at its fullest potential if your body is not properly nourished and your physical needs are not met. This can include getting enough sleep, eating a healthy diet, and engaging in physical exercise, as well as caring for your mind with relaxation and meditation techniques. Developing healthy coping skills can help us manage the stress and emotions we experience in everyday life. This can include practicing mindfulness, deep breathing, or talking to a therapist or mentor. Resilience is not just a theoretical concept, but rather something that we can see in an action in our own lives and the lives of others. Here are a few examples of resilience. An athlete who has experienced a career-ending injury but learns to adapt and find new passion in coaching. A person who loses their job but uses the opportunity to start their own business and pursue their passions. Community that comes together after a natural disaster to support each other and rebuild their community. These simplistic yet relatable scenarios are evidence of how building resilience is an important skill that can help us navigate life's challenges with more ease and confidence. By cultivating a growth mindset, developing social support, practicing self-care, and learning coping skills, we can build our resilience and bounce back from the adversity. Remember, it's not about being tough or strong, but rather the ability to adapt and grow through difficult times. Okay, so resilience, an important one. The part that really interests me, that I read and found interesting and helpful, is that resilience is not a fixed trait. So you don't want to tell yourself that being resilient is not possible for you. You're not that type of person. If you put in that work, talking about the growth mindset, and you can develop and strengthen your resilience over time, which I think is very important. And it comes with the more trauma and the more stress you experience, after time, eventually, if you put in the work by talking to a therapist or mentor, whatever, the traumas and stress will not weigh on you as much. You will view them as an opportunity for growth, as a time where, you're being tested, see what stress you can handle. And every time you make it through on the other side, you come out as a better person, as a more resilient person. So that's the goal of today's episode, is to stress how important that is. And obviously this touches on a little bit practicing self-care. Obviously that's important for everything. So I'm going to be talking about that a lot. but I won't go too into detail about it because we did just talk about it in the previous episode a little bit. And hopefully I'll dedicate a full episode to like a lot of self-care techniques and things you can do and things that I've helped bring into my life personally. So yeah. Another point that is very powerful in this and very engaging is resilience is not just a theoretical concept, but rather something that we can see in action in our own lives and the lives of others. You know, you don't have to be the one to experience the stress and traumas to learn from other people's, if that makes sense. So the example I would see, as I talked about earlier, is seeing an athlete be injured and watching them turn into a coach. As somebody who's been a student and who is a coach now, there's a lot to learn from these mentors and these coaches and teachers in your life in terms of resilience. You know, especially in the athletic field, in the sports industry and department, whatever you want to call it, that category, athletes have to be resilient, you know, physically and mentally. And what I would like to focus on is the mental side of the resilience. You think about with a lot of competition that becomes like trash talking or intimidation or these other things. And somebody who is oftentimes the champion is somebody who can let that roll off their shoulder, you know, just let it fly through the breeze and just not bother them. Somebody who, this is very prevalent in tennis, which I would like to get to in a second here, but somebody who feeds into that and fears the competitive aspect or the trash talking, if you will. I feel like that's a pretty loose term, but any negativity or any stress that an athlete receives before a game or whatever they're doing, if they ponder on it, if they hold on to it, they'll probably play worse. Okay, you see that a lot in tennis. You know, as soon as, even in the pros, as they start missing a few shots, losing a few points that they feel like they should have won, if they get down on themselves, the rest of the match is downhill. They're not playing at their fullest potential because their mental resilience isn't there. You know, the physical resilience can be there, but if the mental's not there with it, you're not going to win the competition. So resilience applies to your everyday life, you know, in terms of what you deal with emotionally and traumatically and just over the course of your life. But it also applies in the like competitive aspect or even just in your workplace. You know, if you are not resilient to, you know, working with clients or handling how your boss may speak to you, you might not be the best employee. And it's okay that if you don't have to feel, or you don't have to always be resilient, but every time you experience these things, you become more resilient. So keep that in mind if you're ever having that bad day at work where, I guess an example for me would be if a client, specifically like an adult, you know, said something that just rubbed me the wrong way. I've had to learn how to become resilient to that. And, you know, not for the sake of just doing a good job, but also for my mental well-being. You know, it doesn't matter what they say, you know, what they say isn't the only thing in life that matters. You know, if they say something upsetting or somebody's rude to you at work or, you know, you're just butting heads with your coworkers, it's not the biggest thing in the world. It's not the end picture of all things, you know. So take it for what it is, you know, let it roll off your shoulder and build that resilience as opposed to let it consume you. I feel like that's what a lot of people these days, including myself, find themselves struggling with is letting it roll off your shoulder and remember that, you know, maybe that person that's upset with you for whatever reason is also having a bad day and their resilience isn't at their highest. So take that into account anytime you experience this thing in life. You know, you're going to experience it every day to some degree. So just focus on that positive mindset, that growth mindset where, yeah, this failure or this bad day or this attitude someone had isn't a failure. It's not a negative thing. Look at it as a growing experience, as like an opportunity to build more resilience. So that's the key points I want to take away from this today. I really like correlating this to like tennis in my life and coaching because it's without resilience, mental and physical, you can't be a good tennis player. You know, you might be able to hit the ball, but when it comes to the competition, you need that. And I don't think I figured out the mental resilience part of it. Not saying I have it mastered, but I don't think I figured it out until I was in my 20s. You know, competing as a junior, I remember if I was playing hard and working my ass off and not winning, it was very frustrating. And it's a very easy thing to get down on yourself in a time like that, especially in an individual sport like tennis, golf. There's no one else out there but you. So it's all up to you to put in the work and be resilient to win the match. So I think, I gave a couple like simple examples that I thought would be relatable and understandable. But in terms of tennis, it's prevalent everyday practice, everyday play, building physical and mental resilience, and just going out there, putting in the work is a part of that. It's a huge part of that. Yeah. So another little point I wanted to touch on, probably going to wrap this up in a few minutes here. I don't have too much to say about this. Just wanted to bring the topic to light and maybe keep applying it in the future in some other episodes. But let me find this one little part. Okay, so what I had in mind for talking about the growth mindset is I tell a lot of my students this. If you don't win, you what? What do you do? I make them answer. It's an open-ended question, because that's something I learned in my coaching workshop. It's like, if you don't win, 99% of them say lose, because all they can focus on is that failure. Now I try to get them to say, if you don't win, you learn. And if you learn from that experience, then it's not a failure. Learning something and playing well is as much of a win as a score being 10-1, the score being whatever it is, in a tiebreaker or in a set or in a full match. If you played well and you learned, that's a win in itself. So going into life with that mindset and everyday things like, today work wasn't great, but I got my paycheck and I helped students, better themselves as individuals and as tennis players. That's a win. Maybe if it was stressful or I was just tired at work that day, that's the mindset I try to come out with it. Also with that work thing, with this as a topic, saying, I have to go to work. Oh, I have to go to work today. You don't have to go to work. You get to go to work. Just even saying that, the power of that language, putting it into existence, makes you dread it a little less, a lot less, and makes you go into it with a positive mindset. I know I work better on the days where I tell myself, I get to go to work today. I get to go help some kids learn how to play tennis and go get to make somebody's day better. When I do that, even if it is a rough day, I come out feeling good. And if I say, I have to work today, or I have that 10-hour shift today, like I'm dragging a little bit, and I can tell my mental resilience isn't where it should be. So I hope everybody takes that into account in their day-to-day lives and can try and make this habitual, because as of right now, a lot of people habitually are negative about their days, and they use those words that, like I have to, and instead of I get to, any negative connotation towards your day or towards things that happen during your day weaken your mental resilience. When if you try and learn from them, well, this person talked to me this way, but I handled it well and I was very respectful. Okay, that's a win. And now you're building resilience. So it can fluctuate. It will fluctuate. Not every time will you be able to be resilient, and that's okay. That's part of being human. But in the long run, even the hard things that do stress you out and you're feeling negative on will build your resilience in the future. Like the next day or a week later, when you move on and learn from that experience. So yeah, that's my little insight on building resilience for today. I feel like I had one more little thing I wanted to touch on. And okay, yeah, so to talk a little bit more about the physical and like mental aspects of this. Oh, Lola, don't bark. Neighbors. It's okay. Thank you. All right, so Lola's the first guest I've ever had on this podcast. She's been here for like 4 out of 5 now. So you're going to get used to her being here if you're listening or watching. Okay, so let's talk about the physical and emotional aspects of resilience and how self-care is important in this, because taking care of yourself, eating right, sleeping well, and exercising as needed is is what you need to do to maintain your physical well-being. And that's fact. That's pretty scientific. There's a lot of information out there on how beneficial it is to get that full 8 hours, to get your 3 meals in or maybe fast in the morning, and then to also exercise. If you can do those things, do the physical aspects of self-care, your mental and emotional fortitude, or resilience, I should say. Sorry, that's the word of the day. Will be working at a more full potential. If you are, staying up all night, eating like junk and drinking coffee every morning, which I'm guilty of, I do it sometimes, and not working out, not keeping your body in physical shape, you're going to have a harder time being physically and emotionally resistant. Resilience, what is wrong with me? In all aspects. Sorry, guys. So those are the biggest takes away from this episode. I hope you spent some time thinking about it, pondering on it, and if you ever want to leave a comment or reach out to me and talk about this topic, I'm always here. And for those of you who I know, if you have a lot to elaborate on any of the topics I speak about, let's get together. Let's talk about it as a group, as a team, and do another one. I definitely am not just doing one episode on everything I talk about. It's not like this is my 20 minutes and this is all the answers you need. And it's an ongoing journey and an ongoing lesson in life that I hope to bring you all along with me. So that's that. I think we're going to call it for this episode today. I know it's a little bit short, but, had a very, very good day, very productive day. Got a double recording session in, and I'm super happy with it. And thank you guys all for the positive feedback and everything I've been, hearing and listening to about what you guys think so far of Speak Up Sal. So again, appreciate it. Hope you enjoy the rest of your week or day or whatever until I upload another one. And peace out, guys. Take care.